What's up, guys? This is Toad back with you for Sunday, April 27th. The streak looks like it's going to discontinue like every day now, and it continues to continue, for lack of a better term, as we go 3-1 yesterday, and it's now a nine-day win streak. I mean, I'm happy about it. My one loss yesterday, the Houston Astros. Unfortunately, it was a decent favorite that I had to lay on that one, which was probably, I was somewhere around minus 130, I think. So that was a tough loss. I mean, Framber Valdez did not even pitch that bad. And I believe Kansas City only had 3 hits in the entire game, and they still won 2-0. I mean, this Houston team, they cannot hit. They couldn't do anything against Waka, really, although Waka still, debatably, he didn't even pitch better than Valdez, even though Valdez did give up 2 runs. It was just Houston, no offense whatsoever. If they had any offense, they should have been able to win that game, and they obviously out-hit Kansas City. I think they out-hit them like 8-3, and usually when you see that, you're not going to lose the ball game. So that was the only loss. We had Vegas Knights, which they had to make it really, really tough again, as they were the better team in the game, and again, which I think they've been the better team throughout the series, which is why I played on them 2 games now. But this time it was a little bit of a cheaper price, and they did get it done this time. They had the lead most of the way. There was one point in the game where they were not winning. They had the lead back in the third period, and they were winning with like 6 minutes left. Of course, they gave up a tying goal, and they had to go into overtime, which is always a heart attack. And, I mean, I was at a concert, at a Rush tribute band concert while that was going on. So intermission hits. I'm, like, looking at my phone. I'm like, all right, well, what happened here? Do I even want to see? Oh, Vegas actually won. All right, sweet. So they actually won in overtime to get that one done. Then we had, what else did I even have yesterday? What were my other plays? Philadelphia, Phillies, that was an easy win. I gave that one out against the Cubs. I thought that was a pitching mismatch. Luzardo had the upper hand in that one, even though the Cubs, like I said, typically hit lefties well, but not a guy that's as good as Luzardo. So that was a win as well. Philly, easy win. And then Golden State, really kind of reminiscent of that Minnesota game the previous night, I think, with a -3 home favorite, and the game's close a lot of the way. It's dicey. Golden State has the lead at some point, then they don't have the lead, but they were able to put it together and have a nice fourth quarter and win by margin in the end. So that was another nice win there. So 9 straight days with wins. Baseball's been kind of chugging along. I think I'm ahead in baseball, but not by a ton. But NBA and NHL playoffs have been insane. I mean, NBA playoffs, I'm up to 9-1 now, including that one play-in win. And NHL, I believe I'm 7-1 in the NHL playoffs. So with that Vegas loss being my only loss the other night. So let's get into today's games, man. I'm going to have 1 NBA play, 2 NHL plays, and 5, I think, baseball plays today. So my card is a little bit larger than it is a lot of times. But, I mean, I think the situation's called for it, and hopefully I'm not going to get killed by doing it. But let's we'll go to the NBA first. I talked about NHL first yesterday. We can do NBA. The theme, by the way, of my actual plays today is going to be good teams coming off of losses, pretty much. So NBA, Knicks and Pistons. The Knicks were able to get Game 3 in Detroit, even though it was a close game. I think it was a game where the Knicks had the lead for the majority of the game and almost blew it, unlike Game 1 where the Pistons actually had the lead in the fourth quarter at New York and blew it with like a 6-minute stretch where they didn't score at all, and the Knicks going on a 21-0 run in the fourth quarter in that game. Game 3 was not like that. Game 3, the Knicks actually were leading for pretty much the whole game. But now with the Pistons being down 2-1 in the series and at home, the odds makers know this is somewhat of a zigzag spot here where the Pistons are really going to need to show up. And the odds makers have adjusted the line possibly too much from a 1-point dog to a 2-point favorite going through the 2 with juice. But we see 65% of the tickets on the Pistons and 61% of the cash coming in on the Knicks. Kind of surprised by that. So it could be an over-adjustment, like I said, with the odds makers having to adjust for the zigzag. They know the Pistons have to show up and play a better game here. But my issue with it is the Pistons, they didn't get blown out in that game. This has been a really tough competitive series. So I don't really know if the zigzag totally applies to this. I mean, I agree that what does apply is that if the Pistons lose this game, the series is pretty much over, so they definitely will need this game. Should be the more motivated team for that reason. So I don't necessarily disagree with the Pistons side. If you put a gun to my head and ask me what side is the right side here, it does conflict with the cash percentage there, but probably slight agreement with the Pistons. The next game up, that game's at 1 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Lakers, T-Wolves. T-Wolves lead the series 2-1. This line has dropped from 3.5 to 2.5. So I don't know if that is also kind of a zigzag adjustment, thinking that the zigzag would now apply in this series because the T-Wolves got the win in Game 3. I was on the T-Wolves. I've been on every game in this series, actually, and I won't be on this one. But in this series, this has been a zigzag series. The T-Wolves won Game 1 outright in a blowout, basically, at LA. LA adjusted and won really easily in Game 2. I won on both of those games. Series shifted to Minnesota. I thought the zigzag applied again. T-Wolves, they got it done again, although it was a bit closer. Now, I do kind of agree that the zigzag would apply to the Lakers this time, but the Lakers are a public team, man. 64% of the tickets, only 59% of the cash, so it does look like the T-Wolves are actually an anti-public home favorite here, and they are still the better defense and pretty tough at home, man, so I don't really want to fade the T-Wolves here. Although the zigzag would apply to the Lakers readjusting and playing better here. Although I actually think the T-Wolves are the deeper team too. They're not necessarily the better team, but the Lakers are very top heavy, obviously with their couple of stars at the top there, and they don't have a lot of depth. I think the T-Wolves do have more depth, but you could see the Lakers getting a lot of calls here, man. Kind of like the Denver Nuggets series, Nuggets-Clippers last night with that dunk. I think it was Jokic got the game-winning dunk at the end after the Nuggets almost blew the game. I told you I kind of leaned to the Nuggets plus the points yesterday. They had a huge lead. I think they were up 20 points in the fourth quarter. Blew the entire lead. It was going to go into overtime. And then Jokic got a dunk, which may or may not have actually counted at the buzzer. And I guess they counted it. Denver won. I don't know if some of that is that the odds, not the odds makers, the referees and the NBA kind of want to prolong these series for more money. I think there is some conspiring going on there because the more games that get played, the more star players that are out there on TV and and people in attendance at these games, the more money the league and teams are going to make. So I think there is something to that. That when it came down to it, the refs wanted Denver to win that game. The NBA wanted them to win. They want Jokic versus Harden. They want that series to go further, go deeper. I think they might want that for this Lakers series as well. But also, I think they would just want the Lakers to not get eliminated here. And if the T-Wolves win this game, the T-Wolves are definitely going to have quite the advantage in the series, obviously. They'd be up 3-1. The Lakers do have a couple of remaining home games left, of course. But I do think that the league probably wants LeBron and Doncic to get further in the NBA playoffs there. So we'll see what happens. But I do think the Lakers might get the benefit of some calls there. The 7 p.m. game, my Boston Celtics. This is the game I'm going to be on. I'm going to lay the points with the Celtics. It's at 7 right now. I don't know if you can still get 6.5. It's gone up from 6.5 to 7 with juice. They are public. 84% of tickets, only 81% of the cash. I'm kind of surprised the Celtics would be public after 2 straight non-covers by the Celtics, including an outright loss in Game 3. But if you pay attention to the Celtics like I do, this is an angle that worked in the playoffs very well last year. Every time the Celtics lost, which was not a lot last year in the playoffs, I think they only lost 1 game per series. Maybe there was 1 series where they didn't lose any. But I'm pretty sure that after every loss, they won and cover the next game. That is what the Celtics do. They get focused. If you beat them, they come out focused, man. And the Celtics didn't even play that bad in Game 3. They were winning the game at halftime. I think they just kind of slipped near the end and just lost the game. And it was only a 2-point loss. I did kind of expect that. I leaned to the Magic in that game, as I talked about on the show. A team that's down 0-2 at home. They really give their big effort there. And then after that, you could see them kind of be a little bit more tired, be in a little bit of a hangover spot after that, whereas you see the team that's the much better team, which is the Celtics, get refocused and play a lot better in the next game. So I think that's what we're going to see out of the Celtics here. And there are injury issues with the Celtics as Game 3, Holiday actually didn't play. He has some, I don't even know what his injury is, and he's not playing in this game either. So the Celtics are going to be down Holiday. But again, the Celtics do have a lot of depth. They have guard depth as well, so I don't think that's a huge deal. And they've actually been going with a larger lineup. They're actually putting Horford in the starting lineup, and I mean, he's a guy that has a lot of experience, so I don't think that's that much of a deal. Tatum wasn't even supposed to play in Game 3, and he did anyway after getting injured in Game 1 at the game that I was at because of that stupid hard foul. These Orlando Magic, man, they're kind of taking some cheap shots. That was Carter Jr., I think, hitting Tatum while he was in the air, giving him a little bit of an injury there. He came back into that game, and then I think he didn't play in Game 2, which I think actually helped the Celtics. That's another thing. Tatum not playing in Game 2, I think actually helped the Celtics focus a little bit more in that game. They didn't lose that game, although they didn't cover. But they know, like, this, I mean, it's the injured player theory, man. You know that when some of your star players are not playing, you step it up to play really well without those players, or to play harder to accommodate for those players being out, or to, I always say accommodate, but that's not the word I'm looking for, to compensate for those players being out. So that's kind of the deal there. But Holiday won't play in this game. Tatum, I assume, is going to play because he played in Game 3, even though he was doubtful. He played anyway, and he had a huge game, so he doesn't seem to be that hampered by that injury. And then Jaylen Brown has been dealing with like a leg injury pretty much the entire playoffs so far, and even before that. So he's questionable, but I am pretty sure he's going to play. I mean, they don't want to let the series slip. Like, they really do not want to have this series go a lot of games, although then again, if you have a series that's like, you kind of want your series to go like 5-6 games, I think, actually, because then if you're playing against a team, well, if you're playing against a team that's swept, well, that's not going to happen because none of these teams are going to sweep besides Cleveland. But like, if you're going to be facing Cleveland in the next round, if Cleveland has way too much time off, they might come out rusty. So, but that's not going to apply to whoever the Celtics are going to play, because it looks like that Knicks-Pistons series is going to go possibly 7 games. So, Celtics, they're the better team. They do want to get it done. I think this is the right spot for them. It's a bounce-back spot. I think with Holiday out, they're going to be focused. My guess is, especially based on this line, because this line is higher than it was in Game 3. Game 3, it was like 4.5, something like that. So you're laying more of a price here for it. But my guess would be that I think that the line was so low in Game 3 because it was expected that Tatum wasn't going to play, and then he was a surprise addition to the lineup late. In this game, to me, the line basically seems to be telling you that it's only Holiday that's going to be out in this game, but we will see. And if that's the case, yeah, I think the Celtics have more than enough weapons to get that thing done. Very similar to what they were doing last year, although this team is a little bit more banged up than it was last year. I'm starting to get worried by it. And then we have Pacers-Bucks. I was on the Bucks in Game 3 here because that was another one of those series where the team was down 0-2 coming back home. It's a great spot to play that team down 0-2. Interestingly, that was the spot for the Magic and the Bucks the other day. Interestingly, the spot, the angle that people use is actually the first half angle is actually stronger in those games than the full game. The team down 0-2, returning back home. The first half actually is like almost a 70% angle, and it's over like a long period of time. It's a sample size of like 90 games or something. But very interestingly, both the Magic and the Bucks didn't cover the first half line in those 2 games, and they did cover the full game. So very interesting there. That's not usually what happens, but the books know that this is the case now, so they make the first half line ridiculous. Like, the Bucks were a 5.5-point favorite in that game, full game, and they're a 4.5-point favorite in the first half. So the books have definitely caught on to it. So definitely charging you a little bit for that first half line. Anyway, the Bucks, they're down from 5 to 4.5 here. It does look like they have the cash coming in on them. 54% of tickets, 75% of the cash coming in on the Bucks. To me, it could be kind of a bounce back spot for the Pacers here because the Bucks beat them by margin in Game 3, but the game was close for a while. And then again, this could be one of those series where the home team just has the upper hand, kind of like I think that was kind of the case with it wasn't the case with this series last year. It was more the Cavs Magic series last year. It was a very home leaning series. This series wasn't really. This series was more of a zigzag series last year, but I'm not so sure that this isn't like more of a home series for these teams this year. I don't know, man, but obviously so far the home team has won and I believe covered every single game. So I don't know if I would want to fade that trend. It does look like the cash percentage is on the Bucks. I'm going to just stay away from it. And again, this is the highest total on the board, of course, with the Celtics game being the lowest total because those are the two slow-paced teams that both play defense. Pacers, Bucks, not a lot of defense going on here and a lot of fast-paced action. So do with that what you will, but that's why the totals are like that. I mean, I don't really disagree with an over in the Pacers-Bucks game either, even though it is public with less of the cash on it. But that's the NBA breakdown there. NHL, like I said, the theme is going to be we're going to take better teams coming off of losses. And in the first game up, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play Winnipeg. I was on St. Louis in the previous game because this is similar to NBA, man. NHL playoffs, a lot of the same stuff applies that applies to the NBA playoffs. St. Louis was a team down 0-2, and they had been competitive in this series. So I liked them, and they more than got the job done. They were out to a 3-0 lead, and they wound up winning the game 7-2. So now that Winnipeg is coming off that embarrassing performance, they are the better team here, even though I do think Winnipeg is a little bit overrated, but they are still the better team here. They do still have the best goaltender in the league. Really good team, balanced team. And St. Louis has definitely played them tough, and they are a home underdog, that's for sure. But that game for St. Louis, I mean, that was these teams that are the lesser of the two teams, they're going to play one great game in a series a lot of times, and that was that game for St. Louis. That was the bad game for Winnipeg. So I think this is going to zigzag. I will lay the price with Winnipeg. You can find it around -130. They're up from -122 to -138 now. 62% of tickets, 68% of the cash coming in on them. So the money is agreeing with me on this and coming in on that side. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, they're going to be, I think, extra focused because losing 7-2, I mean, that's just embarrassing. And I don't think the game was quite as much of a blowout as that made it look. Although, again, I was on St. Louis in that game because of the spot. Down 0-2 at home. But if you look at the statistics, well, I mean, Winnipeg just had almost no shots in that game, and they got they got ridiculously penalized. They had 40 penalty minutes. It was a very physical game, and Winnipeg took a lot of penalties in that game, which you're probably not going to see that much of a penalty discrepancy this time. That was definitely favoring the home team, though, and the Blues are still at home here, but Winnipeg had very few shots in that game as well, 19. That's kind of an outlier. I don't really think they're going to get that few shots on goal again. And that's even crazier that they got that few shots off and they were behind. So in a way, St. Louis did play really well in that game. So it looks a little bit dangerous to do this because St. Louis has actually been pretty competitive. But I'm going to go with the better team in a spot where it's essentially like a spot where you've poked the bear, basically, and now they're going to bounce back and play a better game this time. Carolina, New Jersey. I'm not going to apply that to this one, although I think it does actually apply. And actually, it might apply more in this series. It's just I don't want to lay this much of a price with Carolina. So Carolina has been the better team in this series. There's no doubt. They dominated the first two games at home, not like Winnipeg, St. Louis. So that was actually a close series, close games. Carolina, New Jersey. Carolina, no doubt. They won the first two games easily. New Jersey actually pulled off the win in Game 3, so this is now a 2-1 series. But I do think Carolina bounces back in this one. I don't want to lay this much of a price with it, but I think this is another spot where the better team has been poked, and that is Carolina. So like I said with the Avalanche yesterday, and they got the job done in regulation with a 4-0 win yesterday. If you want to take a price like this and drop that price down, you can find that three-way line. Everybody likes a three-way, man, although I mostly like to watch. Go to DraftKings, whatever. I think most of the books have this now. The three-way regulation line, you could probably knock Carolina down to about a -115. Favored or so to win in regulation, which does mean your bet will lose if it goes into overtime, but they've had the upper hand in the series, man. I mean, I think that might be a decent way to look in that game. Carolina in regulation. I think New Jersey is probably not going to win another game in that series, to be honest. It's a very lopsided series, in my opinion, even though I am playing on the closer series here, but I like the more competitive lines, man, so that's what I'm doing. I agree with all of these cash percentage discrepancies, by the way. So the other game, the next one up, 6:30 p.m., I'm on this one too. I'm going to play Washington -115. I mean, I think this is another situation where Washington has been poked, man. As you saw, I don't even remember what it was in this. There was a fight in the middle of one of the benches in the last game. And it might have been on Washington's bench. Montreal's guys got into Washington's bench. Is that what happened? I don't know. There was something crazy going on. And I told you, I thought Montreal, I did not want to fade Montreal in that spot because this is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for so long, and they have like a monster, pedigree and history with this Montreal team. It's a massive hockey town, so you knew the crowd was going to be insane. The game was completely insane, and Montreal won the game. They were down 0-2 at home as well. They got the job done, but now I think the better team, Washington, they've been poked. They're angry, and I think they're going to readjust and come out and win this game. And just like with Winnipeg and St. Louis, they got blown out, man. So that's the one difference with Carolina and New Jersey as well. That's the other difference is that New Jersey, I believe, didn't win that game by a blowout margin. Let me see. What was the score there? Yeah, it was 3-2. So it was a close game. Carolina plays a lot of close games, actually. But in this one, Washington lost 6-3 to Montreal. And that one, I don't think that game was that much of an outlier. This has been a pretty competitive series as well. But this game, I think it was a little bit of a misleading final score on this one. Even though actually Montreal had way more shots than Washington. It was similar to the Jets game in that Washington got very few shots off. They were not the more physical team in this one, though, and they also got over-penalized in the game. But I think Washington's going to come back. So maybe not a misleading result, but Washington is still the better team here, even though, again, I think they're overrated and not the best team in hockey. But I expect both Winnipeg and Washington to get through this series. And that line is moving up further on Winnipeg, so I think you do have to get on that one because the public is on them. Possibly the same thing here with Washington, Montreal. You can get a pretty low price on Washington here, up from -110 to -114, 63% of tickets, 83% in the cash. After losing 6-3, very embarrassing. I think they're going to bounce back from that and play a much better game. So I'm going to be on those two hockey teams. And, of course, I'm putting my records on the line in the NBA and NHL playoffs here. And you know that I can't continue to run this hot. So something is going to happen. But it's been good, man. On a huge run, like pretty much, I'm up on the year now after a horrific March. I've basically erased the whole thing, although I wish things were going better. Like, I don't want to be only slightly up on the year, but it is only April. That's just the way that it is. But we're going to enter the season where it's just baseball, the summer vacation part of the year, but still money to be made in baseball. And then we do have the Kings in Edmonton. I like Edmonton in this one. I know Edmonton won game 3, so you could debate that it's an LA bounce back spot, but I don't really think so. I was on Edmonton in that game. Edmonton had the upper hand in that game. They were up multiple goals and then blew it and almost blew the game. They did win in overtime, which I think that is kind of a heartbreaking defeat for the Kings because the Kings thought they might be able to get that win. Edmonton down from -140 to -139, but 72% of the tickets, 84% of the cash coming in on Edmonton. I think this is, if there's any series in hockey that's going to be a home series here, like the home team has a monster advantage, it's this series. And, I played the Kings in game 1 of the series, stayed off of game 2, and then I played Edmonton in game 3, coming back home as the favorite down 0-2. Great spot to play them. But the Kings are a really, really good home team, and their road record is actually really bad. So I think Edmonton does have the upper hand because they are much, much better at home. LA is much worse on the road, and this is a spot where LA is far away from home, although they're at least up there now, and they've already played one game up there now, so maybe it's not as good of a spot to play Edmonton as it was in the previous game, but that is the way that I would look. Still would lean to Edmonton in that game. Let's go over to Major League Baseball, where I am going to have a bunch of plays here. Let's try to run through, break it down, man. I know I break down every single game in baseball because I'm autistic. It's the most statistic-oriented sport. It's autistic statistics. Let's go. Mets, Washington. This is Tyler Megill against Mitchell Parker. Couple of decent, youngish pitchers here. It's a decent pitching matchup. This series, this is the rubber match. This is a 1-1 series with the Mets losing game 1, winning game 2 yesterday. Megill, he's a good pitcher, man, although his whip always seems to indicate that his numbers should be worse than they actually are. Like 1.26 whip, I mean, it's fine, but it should not indicate that he has a 1 ERA. Like his ERA should be higher than that. He allows too many walks. That's his issue. Gets a decent amount of strikeouts, really good amount of strikeouts, actually. Doesn't allow a lot of hits. He walks too many guys, and he is coming off a pretty tough 10 strikeout performance, but he was inefficient with his pitches against a good Philly team. Only beat them, a good Philly offense, really. Only beat them by, only went 5 1/3 in the game, even though his team did win the game. He actually got the win in the game. Against the Nationals, he's got good numbers, 54 at-bats, 222 average, 628 OPS. Mitchell Parker, on the other hand, really good numbers this year, .93 whip, so he's rounding into form, and he's coming off an 8-inning, one-hit shutout against Baltimore, where he threw 99 pitches, so I would worry a little bit about Parker after that, because when a young guy has, maybe the best, outing of his career, which that might have been, it's close at least, and he ups his pitch count a little bit, although he did throw almost 100 pitches a couple of times, so maybe he won't be in that much of a letdown spot, but it could be a little bit of a letdown spot. But I don't know if it will be. He's pitching quite well, but again, he does walk too many guys. His strikeout rate isn't that high, but he also does not allow a lot of hits. Coming off a very, very good performance. Overall, his numbers are good. The Mets have kind of had his number, though. In 27 at-bats, they actually have 4 home runs off him, 296 average and 1,123 OPS, so I would probably lean to the Mets in this game because I think they actually have all the advantages given that. I think they have the starting pitching edge. I think they do have the bullpen edge isn't saying much because Washington's bullpen is very, very bad, and the Mets have one of the best bullpens in baseball. And I think probably the Mets have the better hitting as well, so all around the Mets are the better team, which is why they're the favorite. Very public, though, 80%, 87% of tickets, 95% in the cash, though. But the line has dropped from -155 to -140, but I would probably only play the Mets in that game. Toronto and the Yankees have a doubleheader. Yesterday's got rained out. I talked about this yesterday. It's the same matchup as yesterday. Not a whole lot is going to differ here other than the fact that the bullpens didn't get used yesterday. So the bullpens will be available in this game. Both teams actually have decent bullpens. The Yankees have a good bullpen. This is Kevin Gausman against Max Fried. Max Fried is the better pitcher, man. That's just the way that it is. Gausman's having a good season, but he is a little bit older. He is a bit hittable. The Yankees have done okay against him in 153 at-bats. He has walked way too many of them. 22 walks to 57 strikeouts. He's allowed 8 home runs, 6 of them Aaron Judge, and 9 walks. So if you want player props, again, hits plus runs plus RBIs is the better way to go. Not home run props because you never get good odds on home runs. The books overcharge you for it by far. Total bases is a little bit worse because if the guy walks, then it basically completely erases that at bat and you get nothing out of it. Hits plus runs plus RBI is the way to look. Judge specifically rakes against Gausman, so he would be a guy that you might want to look at with player props. So Gausman overall, he's allowed a nice 235 average to the Yankees, which is low, but 776 OPS, so a high OPS. Max Fried, the better pitcher of the two. He's got good numbers this year for the Yankees. Unfortunately, probably a good pickup for the Yankees, though he has faced some weak lineups for the most part this season so far, so I do expect his numbers will not continue to be this good, although I expect we're going to see him land with an ERA probably in the 3s and a whip in the low 1s somewhere. Against the Blue Jays, 38 at-bats where they held him to 237 average, 617 OPS, so I would have to look Fried's way in that game. Yankees are a huge favorite, though, from -180 to -205, and they're very public. So I think you're paying a tax for them. You're getting overcharged. Obviously, the Yankees have all of the advantages. They have the better starting pitcher, the better bullpen, and the better offense. I think the offense, they have the better offense by far. I think that's their biggest advantage. But the Yankees, then again, they've had a lot of games where they really actually haven't scored. So who knows? So I'm going to stay away from that. Next up, Baltimore, Detroit. So Baltimore, they're trying to avoid the sweep here. So Baltimore should be pretty motivated to try to avoid a sweep. The problem is, look at the pitching matchup here. You're trying to avoid a sweep, and you have Dean Creamer on the mound up against Tariq Skubal. That's probably not going to go well for you, man. That is a complete pissing. It's a pissing contest. It's a pissing mismatch. It's a pissing mismatch. No, it's a pitching mismatch. Skubal, we know, he's the ace of the Detroit staff. Not only that, but he's like a top 5 starting pitcher in baseball, in my opinion, and probably in a lot of people's opinion. The stats don't really lie either. Dean Creamer, I made the mistake of trying to play him in one game not too long ago, and he still sucks. I'm right about him sucking. So I think this is a giant pitching mismatch. I almost said it again. Skubal up for minus 180, or Skubal, Detroit, but it is really Skubal who's driving this, up from minus 180 to minus 190, whatever the hell that was. Let me see. What was it? Yeah, 192. Oh, man. I had to refresh, so now I'm off of it. Yeah, 198. 86% of tickets. Only 81% of the cash, though. So you are paying a premium for Detroit because the odds makers know that this is a huge mismatch. So you're paying a large price for Detroit there. And Baltimore is going to be motivated to try to avoid the sweep. Obviously, I mean, it's a situation where I can't play the game. I mean, there are pretty strong reasons to lean to Detroit in this game. But then again, Baltimore, you're paying too much of a price, and Baltimore should be pretty motivated here. So I got to stay away from it. And again, I'm kind of skipping a little bit, but you do have to look at what did the bullpens do yesterday, like which bullpen got more burned out, which bullpen is the better bullpen, stuff like that factors in if you're going to play a full game line here. Anaheim at Minnesota. Anaheim is trying to avoid a sweep as well. They've gotten crushed in the series. They've only scored 5 runs in the series, and they've been outscored 16-5. So this does look like a spot where it might make sense to look Anaheim's way here. Problem is, I don't think they have the better starting pitcher in this game either. With Jose Soriano, he's shown glimpses of being pretty good, but his numbers are not good this season. 4.34 ERA, mediocre, but a 1.52 whip is awful. If you're putting more than 1.5 guys on base per inning, your ERA should be higher than that. His 22-14 strikeout walk ratio is awful. That is way too many walks. Coming off a really bad performance against Pittsburgh. He's gone 5 2/3 or fewer innings in 3 of his last 4 starts. And he's not doing it against really tough lineups either, man. So, I mean, Cleveland's is decent, but other than that, Pittsburgh, Texas, Tampa, he pitched fairly well, but those lineups are not very imposing. And up against Minnesota, he actually does awful. Only 11 at-bats, very small sample size, but they have a 545 average off him and a 1,252 OPS. So it's not looking good, really, for LA or Anaheim to avoid the sweep here. Joe Ryan is definitely the better pitcher, and his ERA, I think, is actually misleadingly high. So this is a spot where maybe you can actually even find some value on the Twins here because Soriano, based on his whip, his ERA should actually even be higher than it is. Joe Ryan, he's been a good pitcher for a while, man. He's proven to be a good pitcher. 0.96 whip is very good. Whip below 1 is crazy good. So that would indicate that he's getting a bit unlucky and that his ERA should actually be lower than it is. It's mostly being skewed by this most recent start against Atlanta where he gave up 3 long balls and still only allowed 6 runs in the game. So given that he allowed 3 home runs, that's not even that bad. But he's got a 28-3 strikeout walk ratio. More than 1 strikeout per inning and fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning. He's a good pitcher. But against Anaheim, his stats are kind of mediocre in 33 at-bats, 273 average, 776 OPS. So not great stats from Ryan against Anaheim, but I think he is certainly the better pitcher in this matchup over Soriano, though. And again, that's why Minnesota's a huge favorite. The money is coming in on them, up from minus 153 to minus 173. Anaheim, though, I mean, again, they should be motivated and kind of in a bounce-back spot because they've had such an ugly series. So I don't quite want to fade Minnesota here, but that is the way the money's coming in, and I obviously don't disagree with it when the matchup is this lopsided. Like, I don't think I could really disagree with Detroit either. But with Detroit, you have to lay like a run line on that one. Starts getting really expensive. This one's a little bit less expensive. This one, you could probably knock Minnesota down to like a minus 120 price range if you lay a minus 1 run line on it. I don't hate that. 68% of tickets, 79% of the cash coming in on them. I probably prefer Minnesota over Detroit, by the way, because I think if people are just looking at ERAs, they're going to be really misled by the ERAs of those 2 starting pitchers. Joe Ryan is the better of the 2. My Boston Red Sox are playing Cleveland after splitting a doubleheader yesterday with Walker Buehler. Buehler was the game that the Red Sox won. He actually pitched pretty decently again. This is Brian Bayo against Logan Allen, or Brian Bello against Logan Ian. If you want to pronounce them in the opposite languages. Bayo, I mean, he's actually starting to pitch a little bit better. I mean, the Red Sox, they've been hailing this guy for a while, man. He hasn't been that good. Although, I mean, what can we say from one start here where he still did walk 3 guys? and it was against a weak Seattle lineup. Maybe there's not that much to take away from that. I think he had a decent start in his opening start last year against Seattle as well, but that was at Seattle, very pitcher-friendly environment. So Bello still might not be that good, man, but the Red Sox are expecting him to become something really good. I don't know if he's going to or not. I mean, he's Dominican Republic. They're like, oh, he's going to be the next Pedro Martinez. Yeah, no, nobody is Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez, he will probably always be the best pitcher that I've ever seen pitch like live in person. And Pedro Martinez was so good. Anyway, Bello against Cleveland, only 4 at-bats, and they're 3 for 4 off him, so that's not great. With a walk and no strikeouts, 750 average, 1,550 OPS, although I know it's a very small sample size. Logan Allen has not really been getting it done either. His ERA is good, 2.11, but 1.31 whip definitely worries me. He has not gone 6 innings yet in any start. He's had some starts in pitcher-friendly environments or against pitcher-friendly lineups that just aren't that good. So in his most recent start, he beat Pittsburgh, which they're not a very good lineup. He has a 16-10 strikeout walk ratio, which is pretty bad. 10 walks is terrible in 21 1/3 innings. So I don't trust Logan Allen at this point, but he is pretty good against the Red Sox. 15 at-bats. I know these are small sample sizes here, but he's selling to a 200 average and 694 OPS. So I would probably have to lean to Cleveland. I think I might have made a mistake. I thought this game was in Boston yesterday, but the series is in Cleveland. Cleveland's sitting at a minus 109 favorite with 53% of tickets on them, but 53% of the cash coming in on Boston. I don't think I agree with that. I mean, I think Allen might actually have the upper hand over Bello, just based on how these pitchers have done against these lineups. Although I do think Bello probably is the guy that has a higher ceiling. Like, he might be the guy that could turn into a better pitcher. I'm not really sure that Logan Allen will ever do that. Houston continues to let me down, as I've bet on them the last 2 games. They've lost both. So now they're trying to avoid a sweep, I believe, in the series against Kansas City. Houston's offense has not shown up at all. I think they haven't scored a run. No, this series has been ridiculous. 2-0 in both games. 4 total runs in 2 games, and Houston has not scored at all in the series, which is insane. So maybe you actually want to look to an over in this game and for that to turn around. Although I don't really want to do that with Hunter Brown on the hill. I mean, he's turning into a really, really good pitcher, man, for Houston. 0.74 ERA, 1.16 whip. Of course, we can't expect him to have numbers that good over the course of an entire season, but 31-6 strikeout walk ratio, only 17 hits allowed in 31 innings. Really, really good. But against Kansas City, not very good. In 44 at-bats, decent sample size. They have 3 homers off him, a 318 average, 871 OPS. So somehow, Kansas City, even though their lineup isn't even that good, they've actually hit Hunter Brown pretty well, although maybe some of it was back when Brown was struggling like early on in his career. I don't know. And then Chris Bubich, on the other hand, the Booby, my favorite pitcher, by the way, 1.45 ERA, 1.06 whip. His numbers are really good this year, too, with a 33-9 strikeout walk ratio and 24 hits allowed in 31 innings. So you could probably scratch that over. I probably would not want to go with the over here, but with both pitchers pitching really well this season, but both pitchers actually don't do that well against the opposing lineups. Bubich in 29 at-bats against Astros hitters has more walks and strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, 7 walks, 276 average, 934 OPS, a couple of home runs allowed. So neither pitcher is actually that good. So I think that still maybe there is some value looking towards the over in this one, but the money is coming in pretty heavily on the under because of what these 2 guys have done this season. They both pitched very well this season, but then again, I think maybe the total is like a little bit too low just because this series has been so unbelievably low scoring. But then again, neither of these teams can really hit that well. But the matchup numbers actually look not that good, so I'm going to stay away from the game. 68% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the under, and the total dropping from 8 juice to the under, 7.5 juice to the under. What else can we do with this? I don't know, man. I don't think I've given out any plays yet, have I? That's crazy. Let's get through these games, man. I have 5 plays still, and they're not in any of these games. And the money is also coming in on Houston. I mean, I do think Hunter Brown is probably the more of the proven of the 2 pitchers, but his matchup numbers are actually worse. So I worry about all of that. So I'm going to stay away. And right on time, next game up, I got to play in this one. I'm going to play on the Brewers, minus 106. Shockingly, I actually think the Brewers have the starting pitching edge of this game, even though it's an old Jose Quintana against Eric Fetty, who has put up like decent numbers recently, but I think that he's not as good as maybe he looked last year, which we'll talk about in a second. But looking at the market read, strong market indicators for the most part on Milwaukee, with 77% of tickets worries me a little bit, and 81% of the cash though. But the money line has really been driven down on St. Louis, down from minus 120 to minus 107. So I think the money is indeed coming in on Milwaukee. Milwaukee is trying to avoid a sweep. St. Louis has won the first 2 games of the series, and they do have a series against the Reds up next. I mean, Milwaukee's a divisional series. I don't really know that you're going to overlook a divisional opponent. Probably not, but I do think Milwaukee getting like almost kind of an underdog price here is probably the way to look in this one. Really fighting to try to avoid a sweep here. And I think that yesterday is also going to give us a little bit of an extra edge here as well, because St. Louis actually used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, more so than the Brewers did. I mean, the Brewers' bullpen is terrible. I know that. They're one of the worst in baseball. Probably the 3rd worst. Not as bad as the Washington bullpen, but still. Brewers' bullpen is bad. I know we're playing a full game here, but I think the fact that the Cardinals used like all of their best arms from their bullpen to try to finish off the game yesterday, I think that kind of evens out the bullpens a little bit. And yesterday, if you remember, I talked about all these games on the show. I told you St. Louis' first 5 innings was the way to look in this game, and that wound up being correct. They almost blew it later in the game. The bullpen came in and almost blew it, and they still won in the end. Actually, after allowing the game to be tied, they won with a walk-off in the bottom of the 9th, which might mean the Brewers are kind of in a little bit of a hangover spot. I hope not, because Brewers, they almost came back and they still lost. But I mean, the Cardinals, not a great team. What I am worried about, though, is that I know I'm playing a road team, just like I did yesterday. I went 1-1 with my road plays yesterday. I know, again, I'm playing on a team that's terrible on the road, 4-11. Cardinals 10-4 at home. So it's hard to fade that, but I think this is a spot to do it, with a team trying to avoid a sweep, with a bullpen that's a little bit less burned out after yesterday, and with the better starting pitcher, in my opinion, which I'm about to talk about now. So again, yeah, Cardinals used up their bullpen. So the Cardinals did win the first 5 inning and the full game yesterday, but I just figured I would point that out because my sights are pretty much on, man, except I can't get the Houston Astros right. But I was right about Sonny Gray had the upper hand in that starting pitching matchup against Quinn Priester, who is way worse than his ERA looked. So finding these misleading ERAs is actually pretty good. But Jose Quintana, I mean, people are going to look at him and think he's awesome. 0.96 ERA, 1.02 whip. Ridiculous numbers. I mean, there's no way he can continue to do this. But, I mean, he's still not really at that age where he's going to start, like, falling off a cliff yet. And he's pitching well this season. He's not a strikeout guy. He doesn't strike a lot of guys out, but he does not put a lot of guys on base. Goes deep into games. He's a veteran. He doesn't throw that hard. He knows how to use his pitches, knows how to fool hitters with off-speed stuff, and he's pitched well so far this season. One of these starts was in Chase Field, 2 of them on the road, so he's actually been quite good, and against St. Louis, he completely dominates them. So this is what tipped the scales for me on this one. Look at these numbers against St. Louis's hitters. 5 for 55. You have a 55 at-bat sample size. Arenado, one of their best hitters, only 2 for 21. Contreras, 1 for 15. Insane. Like, you almost never see a sample size like this with batting numbers this outrageously low. It's insane. 16-5 strikeout walk ratio, so there are some walks there, but .091 and .091 batting average in 55 at-bats and .421 OPS. So Quintana has totally dominant numbers against the St. Louis hitters. And St. Louis's hitters, I don't think, are really that great. I think that St. Louis does have the bullpen edge, but I think that gets a little bit erased because they used a lot of their best arms yesterday. Milwaukee's trying to avoid a sweep, so they have a little bit of a situational edge, and I think they have the starting pitching edge, and Milwaukee definitely has the better offensive lineup here, the better hitters. So even though St. Louis started out hot. So that's what I'm looking at here. Eric Fetty, his numbers look good again this year. 3.33 ERA, 1.19 whip. But I talked about him last year where I was like, last year, because he split between 2 teams last year. So if you look at his career stats were always really, really bad with ERAs over 4 and into the 5s in every one of his seasons up until he missed the entire 2023 season. Then he came back, and it's like, did he actually all of a sudden find something and become a better pitcher? I don't know. Like, all of his numbers became better last year with the White Sox. They didn't get that much worse with the Cardinals, although they did get slightly worse. But is he really, like, do you all of a sudden find something when you're, like, in your early 30s? I'm not so sure about that. I mean, maybe the pitching coach has found something, but maybe he's just not as good as he looked there. And maybe his career numbers are a better indicator, which I always say that to justify with the side that I'm looking at in a particular game. But I don't know, man. I do think that over a season's worth of data does mean something at this point. But what is a red flag for me, though, is that he's walked more hitters than he struck out this year. So even though his numbers look good, that is a major red flag. You can't walk more guys than you strike out. I mean, that means he's not fooling hitters, man. Even though they haven't been able to hit him yet, really. But I think something's going to happen. I think we're going to see some regression out of him because you cannot continue to do that. 13 strikeouts, 14 walks in 27 innings. That walk number's horrendous. He's walked at least 3 hitters in every one of his starts over the last 4 starts. That's not good. And then the icing on the cake against Milwaukee, they've seen a decent amount of him, 74 at-bats. They have 5 home runs off him, 3 from Rhys Hoskins. 9 strikeouts, 12 walks. So again, more walks than strikeouts. And he's allowed a .405 batting average to them and 1,178 OPS. So you have Quintana with absolutely dominant numbers against St. Louis. Fedde with absolutely horrific numbers against Milwaukee. So we're going with Milwaukee in that game to avoid the sweep. That is that play. Next up, we got, what else? I mean, Cincinnati, Colorado. What can we even say about this? Colorado, I think, is trying to avoid a sweep, right? Cincinnati, these first 2 games got pushed into a doubleheader, I think. Maybe they didn't. I forget. I think they did. Could be. No, I think I'm wrong about that, actually. I think Colorado played a doubleheader before this series, I think is what I'm thinking of. Nick Lodolo pitching for Cincinnati, having a good season. .97 whip, 2.79 ERA. However, I think everything gets thrown out the window when you're playing at Coors Field, man. Coors Field, totally different animal. It can turn good pitchers into bad ones. Hunter Green actually still did fine yesterday because he's an ace, man. I mean, he was fairly good yesterday despite pitching in Coors Field. Nick Lodolo has not done well against Colorado in a very short 16 at-bat sample size, though, but a .375 average allowed, 1,507 OPS. So his numbers are not good against Colorado. Ryan Feltner is at least one of the better pitchers in this Colorado rotation. 1.32 whip is still not good. 3.86 ERA is okay. I mean, he's used to pitching in this stadium at least, but the Reds knock him around in 36 at-bats, 389 average, 991 OPS. So, as with a lot of Colorado games, it might make sense to go over here. You're looking at a ridiculous total of 11 here, but I think if people are going to look at these ERAs and say, oh my God, both these guys have ERAs in the 2s and 3s, and the total is 11, like how could you possibly go over that? But I think the over is the right way to look here. Like I said, it's Coors Field, balls fly out of the stadium. It's an afternoon game, so it'll be probably as warm as it's going to get there at this time of year at least. You got 2 pitchers that both don't do well against the opposing lineups. 68% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on the over. So I would go over, even though it's a massive total. It's that high for a reason, man. As I always say, if a total looks egregiously low or it looks egregiously high, the books know what they're doing, man. They're not just giving away money. So a lot of times you want to look to go over the highest totals and under the lowest totals. All right, we got Texas and San Francisco. I actually do have a total in this one. I'm going under 8 in this one, which you can find at about -115 right now. I like the under in this game, man. This is a series that's, I know it's been a low-scoring series, so playing an under is just in line with that. Like, people are going to look at this and probably actually kind of like the under, but I think it's a situation where, I mean, Texas, their offense has not been able to hit like all year. Their offense has been terrible. So that's definitely going to be part of this handicap here. Yesterday, we did have a walk-off win for the Giants, whatever. There's not been a lot of hitting going on in the series. And as far as the, box score here. As far as the box score, I mean, neither team really had to run through a lot of their bullpen yesterday, so I'm okay with going full game under in this one. I think the starting pitchers hopefully can get us a decent amount into this game. So Jack Leiter is pitching for Texas. He's coming off the DL, and you know, like I said with Pablo Lopez the other day, I like to play guys that are coming off the DL, although I usually like to do it with veterans. Jack Leiter is not a veteran. I mean, he does have veteran pedigree, though. It's like in the Kentucky Derby when you're playing a horse whose father was a Derby winner. Jack Leiter's father was a major league pitcher, man. His father is Mark Leiter, I believe. So not Al Leiter, who's Mark Leiter's brother, I'm pretty sure. But Jack Leiter, he came onto the scene last season, definitely struggled last season, but he's off to a good start this season. But unfortunately, he got injured. But his first 2 starts were excellent. He had 10 strikeouts and only 1 walk in 10 innings. Only allowed 1 run, no home runs, and 6 hits. And one of the starts was at Cincinnati, which is not a pitcher-friendly environment at all. So I think he might be rounding into something, man. And now he's coming off the DL. And like I always say, you tend to get a little bit of value on pitchers that are coming off the DL. Although, again, I would like it better if he was a veteran. He was used to doing it, but they want to get back out there, man. They're ready to go. They're excited. They want to get back out there, even though their schedule is obviously thrown off. But it's not like their schedule's thrown off by a couple of days. It's like they're coming back from injury, man. So they tend to get really excited. They tend to be focused for it. So I like all that. And then Jack Leiter, I am almost positive San Francisco has never faced him before because he's new to the league. This is an interleague game. So I think that's another edge that we have here for Jack Leiter. He's off to a good start this season, so he's showing that he can pitch at this level pretty well. He's doing a lot better than Kumar Rocker right now for the Rangers, who is not related to the much better John Rocker, who is the man and a great Twitter follow. Jack Leiter, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have a little bit of an extra edge because the Giants hitters have never seen him before, so I like that side of it. On the other side, Jordan Hicks, he's another fairly young pitcher. I know his numbers are awful this year, so it starts to worry me a little bit. 6.59 ERA, 1.54 whip. Really, really bad numbers. He's had 3 pretty bad starts in a row. The worst one was in the Bronx, though, and 2 of those are on the road. All 3 of them were against really good hitting lineups, Yankees, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. So we might be able to say that he's actually getting a little bit of a reprieve here facing Texas because Texas's lineup is a lot worse than all 3 of those, the Yankees, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. So he's actually stepping down in class. So I like that. Even though I know his walk number is bad, he's definitely walking way too many guys. Almost 1 per every half inning. That's not good. He's got to get that down. But he does have strikeout potential. He's not that bad a pitcher. He has decent stuff. And here's where we get it, man. So not only is Texas's lineup bad, which I think gives us kind of this side of the under, even though you really need both offenses to do something to get a game to go over. Usually, so I already gave you the Jack Leiter side of it, but I think this side of it is also conducive to an under because Texas's offense isn't good. And look at Hicks' numbers against Texas. They're 0 for 19 off him lifetime with 10 strikeouts. That's insane. And 2 walks. So a 0 average and 0.95 OPS. I mean, that's unsustainable, sure, but I don't know if I've ever seen a number of at-bats, even though it is still a small sample size. I don't even think I've ever seen that number of at-bats where the entire lineup is basically face him and it's a complete 0 for 19. Ridiculous. So we're going to go under in this game. And I believe the money does look like it is coming in on the under in this one. Let me go find it. It's down from 8.5 to 8, basically. So some money is coming in on the under. In agreement with me, 59% of tickets, 83% of the cash coming in on the under. That's the play in that Texas and Giants game there. Chicago and the A's. I mean, again, that's at that Sacramento Stadium. What do you want me to say? Play the game over if you're going to play it is the way is what I would recommend. Davis Martin, 3.95 ERA looks good, but 1.43 whip, terrible. Oakland has hit him okay, the A's have hit him okay. 270 average, 911 OPS. They've hit decently against him. Osvaldo Bido pitching for the A's, not good. 4.85 ERA, 1.58 whip, bad numbers. And the White Sox actually haven't done that bad against him. 278 average, 722 OPS. So you got 2 pretty bad pitchers, 2 offenses that people think are probably pretty bad, but in an environment like this where balls fly out of that Sacramento AAA stadium, the bees, they fly like bees, man. Osvaldo Bido. I would go over the total if I played that game. Next up is my other side, and it is going to be on the Atlanta Braves, even though I know Arizona's trying to avoid a sweep at home. But I just think we have a little bit of an edge on Atlanta here, man. And this is a spot where I think the public kind of likes the Diamondbacks because they have a better record than the Braves do. I know. Braves have a bad road record, I know. But 2 of the Braves' 4 wins on the road have come in this series, so they're able to win in this stadium. I know the Diamondbacks are probably going to be extra motivated because they want to avoid a sweep here. But yesterday's game was kind of crazy, man. It was a extra inning game yesterday, I believe. 8-7, 10-inning game where both teams actually scored more than what their hits would lead you to believe. They both were very efficient in scoring. And what happened was Arizona actually had a lead early in the game. They blew the lead late. Going into the 7th inning, they had like a 6-2 lead or something. Blew the entire thing. Tied it in the 9th inning after blowing it to send it into extras. And then they wound up losing anyway. And they got a 4-home run game from Suarez, apparently, and still lost the game. That's crazy. 4 home runs, man. Which I don't remember when the last time that happened was. I remember Mike Cameron. I remember him doing it, I think, for Seattle. And I think in that Seattle park is just crazy to hit 4 home runs there. Not as crazy at Chase Field. I forget who else has done it. A bunch of guys have done it, though. So that's pretty crazy. But the Braves still won the game, and both teams used a lot of their bullpens here. So I think the bullpens are a little bit of a wash here. So I'm okay with going full game on this one. Both bullpens have some decent arms there. Both of them used some of their better arms yesterday. So again, I think that's a little bit of a wash. But I think we got the starting pitching edge here, man, which is going to that kind of sets the wheels in motion. And then if you get the better starting pitcher, if he goes deeper into the game, that kind of alleviates, it takes kind of the load off some of the bullpen as well. So I'm okay with it. We got Spencer Schwellenbach pitching, man. I mean, he might be the best pitcher in this Braves rotation at this point. He bounced back nicely from one really bad start at Toronto. I think that was kind of an outlier because other than that, his starts have been awesome this year. 27-5 strikeout walk ratio. Only 24 hits allowed in 31 2/3 innings. I think he's the real deal. He's good. And not only is he really good, but the Diamondbacks have never faced him. So I think we have the extra upper hand with Schwellenbach here, with him not having been seen before by any of these hitters. I think that's good. Brandon Pfaadt, on the other hand, he's definitely pitching well as well. With a 23-5 strikeout walk ratio, that's pretty good. Strikeout number's a little bit low. 29 2/3 innings pitched. Not allowing a lot of hits. Good numbers from Pfaadt for sure, but he's also faced 4 pretty weak lineups in a row in Washington, Baltimore. Even though Baltimore should be hitting better than they are, they're just not doing it. Miami and Tampa. So I think Schwellenbach is actually more battle-tested this season so far as well, so I like that. But Brandon Pfaadt is the pitcher that has been seen before by the opposing hitters, and they've done not great, but okay off him in 38 at-bats. 263 average isn't great, but 756 OPS is kind of getting into that like high territory with 1 home run from Ozuna. But I like it for Schwellenbach, man. I think he has the upper hand in this pitching matchup. And I think the public is going to be coming in on the Diamondbacks side, which it looks like they are. This looks like a big-time public, like pros versus Joes disparity here, where the Joes, 70% of the tickets on Arizona. They like Arizona. Professional money looks like it's driving Atlanta up from -102 to -111, with 57% of the cash coming into them. So I do like the market read on this one, baby. We're going to be taking the 2 road teams again, just like I did yesterday. We're taking the Atlanta Braves in that one, even though they are looking to complete a sweep. Next up, Miami, Seattle. I'm going to go under 7.5 in this game. I like how this sets up, man. I mean, this is in Seattle, first of all. So you know I like to play unders in Seattle games because that's a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. Also, we have 2 lineups that aren't very good in Miami and Seattle. And yesterday, Seattle won the game 14-0, and the game before that was an 8-4 final in the favor of Miami. So we have 2 crazy high-scoring games so far. We've had 26 runs scored in 2 games of this series so far. So people are going to look at this, and people don't know who these starting pitchers are either. They're probably going to see this, and I don't think the public is going to want to come in and play an under in this game, man. But this is exactly why I do. I mean, I don't think there's anything you can really take away from that. I mean, it was just there were just some bad pitching performances there. Gillespie just got hammered. So I am a little bit worried about the Marlins bullpen, the fact they use a lot of their guys, but I think that's going to be alleviated by the fact that they have Max Meyer on the mound, man. And this is the major piece of why we're going under here. This guy, he's the best pitcher on Miami, man. He came up last year. I told you this guy had good stuff. He was going to be good. Like, if you look at the scouting reports and whatever, 1.07 whip, 2.1 ERA so far this year. Really, really, really good, man. He struck out 14 guys in his last game in 6 innings, 6 innings shutout. So I know he's not going to do that again, probably, but we don't need him to be that good. But just overall, he's been excellent. 41-7 strikeout walk ratio, fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning. Great, great pitcher, man. He's not going to get the accolades because he's on this awful Miami team, but he's been really, really amazing. And Seattle's offense, not only are they not that great, but they've never seen Meyer before. So I think Meyer is going to have the upper hand there as well. So I like that side of things. On the other side, Miami's hitters have never seen Seattle's starter either, which is Logan Evans. He's making his major league debut in this game today. So a lot of times, you know me, man, I'll be on a guy that's making his major league debut if he's a highly considered prospect, because if he has decent stuff that can fool the opposing hitters and these hitters haven't seen him before, I do think he has a little bit of an edge there, and that's what I'm going with Evans. I know he is being called up because of an injury, because Logan Gilbert is injured and George Kirby is still injured, so the Seattle rotation is really, really injured right now as they have 2 of their better starters, especially better at home. Both of those guys are down now, so a lot of times the team has no choice but to put some guy who's not a very good pitcher in the rotation, but I don't think that's the case here. So Logan Evans is a guy he was a very low draft pick. Like, he wasn't highly considered at all. He actually had really bad numbers. He went to Penn State. He actually had really, really bad numbers, but he's been increasing the amount of different pitches. He's completely changed his pitching arsenal since he was in college, as he's been working with minor league pitching coaches, and his minor league numbers are actually pretty good. In AA, AAA, I think he's put up ERAs in the 3s. He's not a great strikeout pitcher, but he's got stuff that can fool hitters, man. So he has a 5-pitch arsenal now. He throws a fastball. He throws a pretty hard sinker that's still in the low 90s. I believe he has a curveball, changeup, and kind of a sweeper or maybe a slider. And I guess he has some pretty good movement in some of those pitches. So, he's got the profile to be an okay starting pitcher, I would say. And if hitters have never seen him before and they're not even a great hitting lineup, I think he should have a little bit of an edge here. So I'm going under in this game. I think the circumstances are right to go with an under in that one. And if you look at the market on this, I think that it might be in agreement with me as well. We got 56% of tickets on the over in this game. Seeing what had happened in the last game, when I first saw that 14-0, I'm like, I want to play on Miami, right? I think Miami is also worth a look in this game, by the way, because Logan Evans is an unknown, and Max Meyer is proving himself to be an excellent pitcher. So Miami coming off losing 14-0. I think Miami is also a decent way to look, getting an underdog price. That line is crashed from -175 to -138, but some of the reason for that move is because I think Logan Gilbert was supposed to pitch in this game, and now we have a different Logan on the mound, Logan Evans, who's a complete mystery. So I think that's part of the reason why the line moved that much, but it does look like Seattle's public, 62% of tickets, only 54% of the cash. So the public's going to react to what they saw yesterday. Oh my God, 14 runs, 14-0 Seattle. So that's the type of outlier, score that you want to try to take advantage of in some way and fade. I'm doing it by playing the under in this game. I also agree with playing Miami in this game, fading the Seattle 14-run win yesterday as well. So I agree with both of those in this game. But I'm on the under in that game. I could play both. I could see that, but I think the under is the way that I like to play it better. Yeah, Mariners. Yeah, Connor Gillespie, whatever. He's not good, man. Scott, what's up, man? Will, what's up, brother? How many series wins in a row for the Mariners now? Well, I think they're going to lose the game today, so 0. They beat the Red Sox. By how many series have they won in a row? I don't even know. Let me see. They do have a good record. They beat the Red Sox. They beat Toronto. Beat Cincinnati. Beat Texas. That's 5. They got swept by San Francisco, and they have 5 series wins in a row. Will, yeah, how was fishing yesterday? I like how there's conversations going on with each other in the chat now. You found lots of fish. That's good, man. I'm not a fisherman, even though I am like pretty much right on the coast here in New England. The Mariners are cooking. I think they're going to lose this series. I think they'll lose this game. Max Meyer, you don't want to go against that guy, man. So, but I do prefer the under in that game because I still don't trust Miami's offense, though. So that's the thing. And Miami's bullpen is a little bit more used than Seattle's is, so we'd be a little bit worried about that as well. Pittsburgh and the LA Dodgers. Dodgers bounced back and got a win yesterday. You're always going to pay a tax with the Dodgers, but I mean, Bailey Falter against Tyler Glasnow. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, Falter, he has pretty bad numbers against the Dodgers. I don't even know if I should bring it up, but his numbers are not good overall. 5.19, even though his 1.19 whip indicates that his ERA shouldn't be as bad as it is, but he's not good. Dodgers, 55 at-bats, have a 309 average, 974 OPS off of him, so he doesn't do well against the Dodgers. Glasnow, we know what he is, man. He's a good pitcher. One of the best starters in the Dodgers rotation still. He dominates Pittsburgh in 52 at-bats, 173 average, 489 OPS. So obviously the Dodgers have the upper hand here. They have they're better in every way. They have the way better starting pitcher, the better bullpen, the better offense. But that is why you're laying like a giant price with them. Now up to minus 323, and they're very public. I mean, I certainly would not play Pittsburgh in this game, though. I would either leave it alone, or if you really want to play this game, I mean, again, just like I said yesterday, you could lay the Dodgers money line because when they do win, they tend to cover, or excuse me, the run line, not the money line. The money line, you do not want to play the money line. Over minus 300, never play an over minus 300 favorite in baseball, dude. Never do it because long term, you're always playing on a team that's going to be overpriced in the market, and you actually lose money long term. You hit like 64% probably. At favorites that are that high, which sounds good, but it's not because you're laying a price that requires you to win more than 64% of those bets. So don't do it. But run line, minus 1.5 runs, having to pay a price for that too, but that's probably the only way that I would go with the Dodgers in that one. And they did cover it yesterday. When they win, they do tend to cover it. So that's the way that I looked there. Master Raven sent you. Yeah, Skeeter, what's up, man? Oh, Raven's sending everybody in to raid me. All right, cool. Fish and Rick. Oh, that's you, Cubert. What's up, man? Myco Squid. We're talking. I still don't get the egg thing. Nephilim Death Squad. Raven. What's up, man? What is the egg? What's the idea with the egg? It's just, I just know that it's a shape that like appears everywhere, and it probably has something to do with the Nephilim and the Antichrist or something. I don't know. It's the egg that's gonna birth the birth like Satan or something. I don't know what it is. Egg. I like eggs, man. I eat eggs most days. I like eating eggs. It's healthy. A lot of nutrients in that shit. You got to eat the yolks as well. Cook them any way you want, baby, but eat the eggs. Eat them raw if you want. Eat the eggs. A lot of protein and fat as well. Eat the eggs. Tampa and San Diego, this is my last actual play, and this is a total, and this is going to be an over. I know I'm playing an over in Petco Park or whatever the hell it's called now, which is a nice pitching park, but I don't care because these starting pitchers suck ass. So I'm going with the over in this game. And nobody's going to want to do this, man. Who's going to want to play an over in a series where we've seen a 1-0 game and a 4-1 game? So in 2 games, this is almost as crazy as that other series where there were 4 runs scored in 2 games. This series, we've had 6 runs scored in 2 games. So who the fuck is going to want to play an over 8 or 8.5 when they haven't even scored 8 in the entire series? Well, I do because the pitchers are terrible in this game, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yesterday, Pepio didn't do very well yesterday. Both teams actually used some of their bullpens here. Cease actually did even worse, surprisingly. Cease, good pitcher, but he gave up 2 home runs yesterday. I'm kind of surprised by that. He was still striking guys out, but he got hit around a little bit. Very surprising, but both pitching staffs had to use some bullpen arms yesterday, man. As Tampa had to use their best relievers to finish off the game, save the game in a close game. San Diego had to use a bunch of their bullpen arms as well. So I think that helps us with the over here. But what's going to help us the most is how bad these starting pitchers are. Zach Littell, nice 0-5 record, baby. Although you don't want to look at records alone, obviously, because that means he's not getting run support. But still, doesn't look good. But what looks even worse is a 5.28 ERA. 1.24 whip isn't that bad. Probably indicates that his ERA shouldn't be as bad as it is. But he's not that good. I mean, 21-7 strikeout walk ratio is okay. He's given up 8 homers, so he is definitely hittable, even though home runs don't really happen as much in this park. But where we really get the edge here is his numbers against the Padres are awful. The Fathers, they are his daddy. In 35 at-bats worth, he's allowed a 371 average and 989 OPS to the Padres hitters. So, yeah, the Fathers definitely dominate him and are his daddy. This is like the Yankees with Pedro Martinez. And then on the other side, Randy Vasquez is even worse than Zach Littell, and he's got a 3.97 ERA, so people are going to look at that and think, hey, that's a pretty good ERA, right? Yeah, well, okay. He's got a 1.59 whip, so he's putting more than 1.5 guys on base per inning. You cannot do that and maintain an ERA that low. Like, his ERA should probably be 6 with a whip like that. He sucks. I've been saying it for forever. He's awful. He's got 17 walks and 9 strikeouts this year. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. Okay, cool. On his last 4 starts, he's gone 5 innings or fewer in all 4. 2 innings in his last outing. He's walked multiple guys in every one of those starts, but again, he's walked almost twice as many hitters as he struck out. That means he ain't fooling no one, and he allows way more fly balls than ground balls. Sucks ass. This guy sucks. And against Tampa Bay, even though their offense isn't even good, we have a small sample size, 19 at-bats, but they have a 474 average off him and 1,261 OPS. So we are going over in that game, and I think kind of fading public sentiment probably in this game too. Total's gone up from 8.5 or 8 to 8.5, so a very slight move upward, but 70% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the over. Over is the play in that one. And then we got... to finish it off, we do have the night game with Toronto and New York because that, or the Yankees, I should say, because that is the doubleheader after the game got rained out. This is Chris Bassett against Clark Schmidt. Bassett's been pitching well this season, 1.88 ERA, 1.15 whip. I do expect some regression out of him, though. He's kind of trending in the wrong direction with kind of a bad start against Houston his last time out. Against the Yankees, he doesn't have great numbers either, and they've seen him a lot. 75 at-bats, right? They have a 280 average, 778 OPS, so I don't think Bassett really has the upper hand here. Clark Schmidt, I mean, I don't think he's that good of a pitcher either, but he's off to a really bad start this season. 7.45 ERA, 1.66 whip. I don't think he's going to continue to be that bad, but I've never thought he was really that good. He is going to improve from this, you would have to imagine. But he's really had a rough go of it so far. Against Toronto, it might not get any easier. In 69 at-bats, 12.8 strikeout walk ratio is pretty awful. 319 batting average and 955 OPS off him, also pretty bad. So what does that mean? Probably you want to go with the over in that game. And if you see that the first game has a lot of bullpen usage, I think the over makes more sense in this game. Ridiculously, it looks like the cash is all coming on the under, dropping this line down a little bit from 9 to 8.5. 53% of the tickets on the over and 89% of the cash on the under. Obviously, I do not agree with that. I would go over the total in that one. And again, especially if the bullpens get used up in the first game. And then we have maybe one of the best games of the day, which is on the ESPN night game here. ESPN's giving you Philadelphia, Chicago. I mean, that is a pretty good game. So sometimes ESPN gives you a shitty game for the night game. This is not one of them. Chicago, Philadelphia. Although both pitchers have definitely been struggling, but these are two good teams. You're probably going to get some offense in this game. Aaron Nola, I just don't think there's any way he can continue pitching this bad. I mean, he's off to an 0-5 start as well. 6.43 ERA, 1.61 whip. You never see numbers like this out of him, man. He's only 31 years old, so there's no way this guy's just all of a sudden falling off a cliff after he's put up really good career numbers, as you can see here. Way more than 1 strikeout per inning. Great strikeout walk ratio, 4.2 on his career. 1.15 whip, 3.75 ERA. This guy's way, way better than what we've seen so far. 31 to 11 strikeout walk ratio this year is not even that bad. He's just been giving up too many hits, too many home runs. I think we're going to see him get better, man. It has to happen with a guy like him. I don't think he's just all of a sudden just forgetting how to pitch at the age of like 31 or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Cubs have a good lineup though, so he might not do great in this game, but he does actually do okay historically against them. In 150 at bats, he's got a 31-8 strikeout walk ratio against them, 247 average allowed, 736 OPS. So he has not done that bad. So he may start pitching a little bit better starting with this game. He is the better pitcher over Jameson Taillon, who I really don't like very much. 4.73 ERA, 1.2 whip is not that bad, indicating that maybe his ERA should actually be a little bit lower. Against Philly, he hasn't done that well. 93 at-bats, 290 average, 770 OPS. So I think Nola actually has the upper hand, and Nola has the better career numbers. So I would lean to Philadelphia in this game. As you can see here, Taillon, his career numbers actually aren't that bad. They're fairly close to what he's doing right now. 3.91 ERA, 1.21 whip. Actually had a good season last year. His season before that, he was really starting to regress again. So, I don't know. He has kind of these like alternating seasons of good and bad. So he's kind of hard to gauge, but I think Nola has more potential to just get better again because he's been really good throughout his career. Better than Taillon has throughout his career. So even though the money lines moved up on the Cubs from -106 to -117, 59% of tickets on them, 63% of the cash coming back on the Philadelphia side. I agree with Philadelphia in that game if I was going to play it, which I am not. And that's going to do it for me. Holy shit, we got a lot of egg comments here. I try to get through all the comments, man, but I don't know if we'll be able to do it. Let's see. Yes, egg. Yeah, that's right. Well, dude, just the phrase egg makes me hard for multiple reasons. Not only because I'll eat hard-boiled eggs sometimes, but also because I like eggs as a food. That makes me hard. But also, I want to like fertilize women's eggs. So every concept about the egg makes me hard, man. That's just the way that it is. I still don't know what you're talking about with making your eggs bust, but yeah. I'll bust some women's eggs open with my very powerful seed. I don't know what's going on, man. Did I say hi to all of you guys that were in the chat? I think I did, but I don't know. Xerox, what's up, man? Well, thanks for joining anyway. I'll do that Hawthorne Heights cover for you at some point. Yeah, we're scrambling the yolk. Is there's an over-under? It would have to be in a certain amount of time, right? How many dicks can Bonnie Blue take? I don't know, man. Yeah, stop gooning. Especially don't do it over me or Bonnie Blue. Hollandaise, I like hollandaise sauce, man. I like a nice Eggs Benedict. This is making me hungry. I got to go eat lunch, man. I had oatmeal for breakfast. Doing the quick overnight oats, which are pretty good, actually. Oats overnight. Tell them that I sent you, even though they don't even know who I am. I am a customer. They have some good oats, man. All different flavors with natural ingredients and shit. Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, they were excellent players for Seattle. Yes, they have one game since then. They've been in the playoffs since then as well, I'm pretty sure. But they're not a great team right now because their offense isn't good. They have a pretty good starting pitching rotation, but now, like I said, they have a couple of guys who are hurt in their starting rotation, and their pitchers actually don't do as well away from home. Yeah, that's right. This has been fun. Bo Jackson, one of my favorite players, man. I loved him as a kid because I'm like, holy shit, this guy's playing football and baseball. I never liked Deion Sanders for the same reason. Now I hate Sanders even more. Fuck him. Fuck his son. I just think they're just narcissistic assholes. Bo Jackson, like, awesome player, and I don't know if he was a good dude or not, or is, because I assume he's still alive. Bo Jackson, dude, I loved watching that guy, man. He was a legitimately awesome running back, too, for the Raiders, and he was actually a really good player for the Kansas City Royals as well. Yeah, broke a bat over his knee. He was a monster, dude. Hard. Better off dead, baby. All right, that's going to do it for me. My plays today, one more time, my Boston Celtics minus the points for the NBA. Hockey, and again, we're going with all good teams to bounce back from losses. Winnipeg on the money line, Washington Caps on the money line. Baseball, we got the Brewers money line, Braves money line, under in Texas and San Francisco, under in Miami and Seattle, and those are under 8 and under 7.5 respectively. Tampa, San Diego over 8.5. That's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let's have a good Sunday. Be holy, man. Don't break too many eggs over your knee or whatever, or with your powerful seed. Peace out, guys. Thanks for hanging out.